Hello, guys, and welcome to an NGB video review. We're reviewing F1 2015. I've got Ben with me. Ben, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, thanks, man. Yeah, it's time to get the latest F1 game on the go.
It is indeed. Just before we get into it, though, this is going to be our kind of new format for video reviews. So we're just going to get together for a chat and just talk about how the reviewer or the person playing the game kind of feels about it. So let's just get straight into it. Ben, you've been playing F1 2015.
Yep.
I've heard some decent, half-decent things about it. Let's just focus on, I think the main thing people are talking about is the content-wise. Apparently it's pretty bare bones. Like, we're here on the menu right now,
Yep.
looking at it, and
I mean, you can see we've got Championship season and then Pro season, which is basically the Championship season on the hardest difficulty with
Right, okay.
like everything turned off that you can turn on. Quick race where you just basically select where you want to go. Multiplayer for online, and then a time trial if you want to just test your skill against certain individual laps.
okay.
My F1, which is literally nothing really. It's to do with game settings. So like you go into it and you've just got that's
Okay,
it.
basic.
You've got settings, and the thing is, like, when you start the game up, it offers you the option to choose between the 2014 and the 2015 season.
Okay.
So it says, like, you can either play the 2014 season and relive last year, or you can do 2015 and give this season a go as whoever you want to play as. So I just jumped straight in with Hamilton in the championship season. So if I go to continue, we'll just basically go through the season as it is. I've kind of put it on an easy difficulty just to get a feel of the game.
Sure.
Sometimes throw it up a little bit, but
Have you tried the option where it gave you the chance for 2014? How does that look? Does it differ? Anyway?
Not really. It's just kind of the same thing.
Okay. So it's actually a full season. It's not like a scenario mode or anything like that. No.
No, that's one of the things. Like the actual number of settings in the game, it's really there's just not a lot to it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. And that's what people seem to be taking sort of umbrage with, I guess. It's like pretty bare bones in terms of content.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite disappointing in a way, because you've got, like, last year you had I think it was the season challenge mode where you started off at like Lotus or a lower sort of lower team, and then worked your way up through the season to get to like one of the premium teams.
Yeah.
And this time round you've got none of that. You've got none of the
It's just with the drivers, right? Just the drivers themselves.
yeah, you can't like put your own details in or anything like that. You literally just play as the drivers, and the season mode is essentially just going through the races in order. There's none of the what am I trying to say, like the bits in between the seasons, bits in between the races. So you don't have like the media set. The
I was going to say,
like
is it like a proper career mode where you got like press conferences and stuff going on and everything?
Yeah, you don't have any of that. It's literally just, this is a race, then let's play this race.
Because with F1, they could have made that really cool. Like have a proper season where you choose to be, like Hamilton or whatever, and you go for the press conference stuff, and like you have these little spats with drivers as you do in real life, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for. I mean, obviously I reviewed last year's on the PC, and I kind of said at that point it seemed a bit like a PS3 and an Xbox 360 game, just with higher graphical settings.
Yeah.
Like it looked a bit smoother, but it wasn't like take your breath away gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, this year, it looks all right. I was
going to say it looks a bit bland, really.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's some. Hello, I'm just running to the back of Falcon. In some respects, it could be. It could be down to the way that Formula One is. Like, it's quite a clinical sport, and everything like that. You don't have little bits of debris on the track all the time, and things like that.
The visuals on the car themselves. Like, I remember, I think I've seen some comparisons elsewhere. Like, there's hardly any reflections and stuff going off there or anything like that. It seems very basic. And for a new gen sports game, really.
That's the thing. And like last year, like when I was saying, even though it was basically the same engine with slightly nicer graphics, it just seemed a bit I don't know. It did look nice, but it was just like higher textures on an old gen system. This time round, they've got a new engine. They've got a new. Apparently, there's some new physics models and things like that in there as well, and new AI.
Okay.
The AI seems all right. It doesn't. From what I've played so far, and it's not been too much, if I'm brutally honest. You know, I'm sort of midway through. Midway through things at the minute. It does seem like the AI is not quite as unique and individual as I've liked it to be. So
like Grosjean, or say, you know, like Maldonado won't be like sort of haphazard driving.
yeah, totally. That's what I was gonna say. Like, you know, Maldonado doesn't necessarily seem to be like the most
riding driver.
Like, you know, kind of, he won't be as aggressive. And there you go, Hamilton just waving what the fuck.
His hand up there. That's quite nice.
Yeah.
That's quite nice. Look.
So there are neat little touches like that in here, but in terms of particularly like, you know, as I say, full races where you're going up against people, there don't seem to be those kinds of like rivalries that you'd build up in the race. And I mean, you know, as I said, it might. The further up you go, the more difficult the things get. You know, you may well come into that, but the lack of like a proper season mode, if you like, is a bit. It's a bit disheartening. That's
a shame, because again, like I said, like F1's that kind of sport where you know the outside, you know, driving life is actually part of the whole thing, the experience. So they could have got that in, like, you know, how like Hamilton gets involved with some weird outside of the F1 thing or whatever, you know, like sponsorship or something like that, whatever. There's like a huge part of F1 itself, so that's a shame. And it's kind of the thing, isn't it, with like first attempts for like sports games on new consoles. It's kind of weird. It's always been the case pretty much, where they kind of reduce content.
Yeah, it's hard to really figure out why it's as light as it is, because like I said last year when I reviewed when I reviewed 2014, I just said, well, you know, if they can put this in a new, like, you know, in a new gen, I think it'll look really impressive.
Yeah, I remember you said that. Yeah.
But instead, what they've done is they've just kind of sort of fucked it in a way. In some respects, it's, you know, it's still pretty good. It's still a decent racer. It's the only place that you can really like get into these cars and do these races on these tracks. So if you're a fan of the sport, and it's probably worth getting. But in terms of, you know, I'm a sort of fair weather fan of it, that I think, you know, fair enough. But it's as somebody that's not massively into Formula One, it's not really that enticing. Going into it.
In terms of so the content, like we've kind of established there, it's a bit bare bones. There's not much. They've taken out the kind of option to, you know, create your own racer and start. I think a lot of people also didn't like the fact that they've got rid of the co-op career as well. I think a lot of people were big fans of that. You could do like a proper co-op career. I know Ariel and Aaron from our team, they love that option, and they haven't bought the PC version, which they usually do, just to do that. So that's a shame. But I guess gameplay wise, because, you know, on the track itself, how does it play compared to last year's? I
mean, it feels nice. You can definitely tell that they've put a new engine in.
That's good.
There are certain things where you can almost sort of feel the pull of the track. You know, the pull of the G's and stuff. When you're braking quite hard, you can sort of sense that the car's fighting against things. When you take really tight corners, you know, if you get your speed wrong, it'll just throw you off completely. And it's I mean, it feels nice enough. It's just it's always coming back to that lack of content. There were a couple of weird instances actually where I was playing in Malaysia, and I think it was turns 2 and 3, or turns 3 and 4. I can't remember. There was some really odd slowdown. It seemed to sort of drop down to about
all the time.
Every single lap I got to that same point, and I was like, well, you know, it's sort of 20, 30 the frame rate's quite, you know, really steady, but then it gets to just that one corner and it seems to drop to like quite a weird point. And
it is 60 frames, isn't it, most of the time? Is that correct?
I think so. It's
that's what they've aimed for, I think.
I mean, it's smooth enough. It's not, you know, mind-bogglingly gorgeous as we've seen, but
Yeah. It's
you
not
know,
Drive Club, put it that way. Yeah, yeah.
no, I mean when it sort of gets to a certain point and you're trying to go around a corner that just the frame rate is going at such a point, you're almost fighting against that frame rate, and then it snaps back into being smooth again. You sort of go off the track in a way. That was really strange, and it seems to have only been in one track that I've played so far.
Nice. Just looking at this though, like just looking at the gameplay, the fact that they've modelled the actual races is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, they did that last year to a point.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't quite as nice looking as this.
Yeah.
But what I'm just going to do is nip back to one of the other modes quickly. It didn't look as good as this last year on the PC when it comes to the drivers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I still think they could be improved a bit, but still, it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, everything else just seemed to be a bit better last year.
Okay.
So I'll just switch to 2014 so we can
have a look at that. Okay.
Yeah, just quickly see what's going on.
So while you do that, so you mentioned the gameplay seems to. So would you say overall, in terms of handling and AI and everything as a package, it's better than last year, gameplay wise only?
Gameplay wise, I'd probably say yeah. It definitely feels quite nice. All the teams are there as you'd expect.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's if you really wanted to, you can go through the whole season as Daniel Ricciardo, and
they've got his smile right.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of that side of it, it's quite impressive, and it's really nice, but it's hard to.
It comes back to the content.
It really is hard to look past the lack of content, because it's just. It's like if FIFA just had exhibition and then play lots of exhibition matches in order.
Yeah. True. I see your point. Another thing I wanted to ask. So you showed us the championship road. Is there any online stuff? No.
Yeah, there's online.
Okay.
I've not really given that too much of a go yet, because I know I'll just get absolutely the floor will be wiped with me. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, it seems fair enough. It seems solid enough and stable enough. It's just let's have a look. Start race.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of looks the same, just with different insignias on the cars.
Yeah.
In terms of last year's stuff, if I pull out and go to different views. The one thing that I did think initially with this, I kind of thought, like, when you're in this view here, because I tend to play racing games with a third-person camera.
Yeah.
When you're in this view, there's just there wasn't that sense of speed.
No, I don't think I've kind of ever got that with an F1 game playing this view. I think F1 games are suited to that kind of the in-car sort of view, I guess, or that feeling of claustrophobia almost, I guess, because that suits the style of F1 racing.
Yeah. I mean, like this there's just no real sense of danger or anything like that, whereas when you're sort of here, I know you're really, really conscious about, I've got to brake at this point, or obviously when you've got the corner indicators turned off, you've got to really judge your braking point, and it's quite nice.
And have you tried with I'm presuming you're playing with some of the assists on right now?
Yes. I've not really. I did, and immediately ploughed my car into.
Yeah, I remember. When I used to, I think I haven't played an F1 game properly for a while, but when I did, I used to play with all assist off, because I used to get called a noob by Aaron if I didn't. So I
hope Aaron doesn't watch this video, because
he will.
So many emails just calling me a massive noob.
He will. But yeah, I used to play with all assists off, and it was tough. It was really, really tough. But even with assists on Aaron, it used to be pretty tough sometimes as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if you want to, if you really want to give it a go with everything off, like if you want to master the game, then there's probably more than enough content for you to do that. But for kind of, as I said, like fair weather fans that want to get into an F1 game, you've got this lack of content that's just, there's not really enough pulling you back to it. So I'd probably say it's for the hardcore fans, and even then, ones that just want to race.
Yeah, there doesn't seem like there's a. Again, I think the lack of like a career mode where you can start from the bottom and kind of rise to the top is a bit Yeah, that's a bit of a miss. And again, a lot of people surprisingly love the co-op seasons options, and that's gone at the moment. So
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they bring it back next year, and it's
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. There's been a bit, not I want to say a huge backlash per se, but there's been people not happy with content being removed.
yeah, and I mean, understandably so. I sort of. I really enjoyed some of the different modes last year, and I put a few hours into it on the PC, and I thought this is quite impressive.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see what they do with slightly different engine behind it that can run on the consoles.
Yeah.
Because it really surprised me last year actually when they didn't put out a like a PS4 and Xbox One version.
Yeah.
And they sort of stuck with the PS3 and 360.
I think one of the reasons was they wanted to do a proper version, but it seems like it's kind of caught halfway house now, really, isn't it?
Yeah, if that was their reasoning, then I think they've probably shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I think that's why.
If they've turned around and said, "Oh yeah, well we wanted to make a decent proper version for the for the consoles next time out," they haven't really done that.
No.
So
just wanted to touch upon the visual side of things again. I've seen a few like night races, and they look actually really nice.
The night races, they always do, because I think that's basically, the way that they sell F1 racing to a lot of people is like you kind of go, well, yeah, but look at the shiny, and it really does look impressive.
The lighting is nice and everything. It looks a lot better than this because right now this to me looks a bit drab.
You've got grey track, grey stands, grey skies,
and even the tarmac is like it might sound stupid, but like the tarmac seems like very just basic and bland. Like there's no I guess substance or texture to it at the moment.
Yeah, I mean it will leave marks and stuff on there if you brake too hard and things like that. It will it will be quite evident that you've spun off in a corner, or you've braked way too hard on the way into a corner, but yeah, it's not too much to write home about.
Yeah, I'd even hesitate to say that like some of the previous versions I played, they had better looking tarmac, which might be a bit of a controversial statement, but that's what I think.
Yeah, it's probably true. I think I think there's a lot of things that do look better in previous versions, particularly on PC. I mean, it's hard to fault the PS4 for or the PS4 for looking better than the PS3 version, which it clearly does. Shit. Oh, I'm going to lose this on the last bloody corner, aren't I?
No. You got back. And have you tried a wet race?
Again, I did, and I kind of that was the one that I tried with assist off.
That's the worst.
Yeah. So I think that was probably the wrong one to try with the assists off, but they kind of on the back of the box they trumpet like the TV style presentation, and it's like it is like when you get to this point, but I mean there's not a whole lot else.
I mean it looks good, but it's like again just I don't know, so there's something about it that just looks a bit too bland to me. I don't know, it's just I've used that word a lot. bland.
Well, I mean, it's kind of as you say, like it's that first game on a console thing, and it's like, well, but it shouldn't be like that. I
think the golf game had EA's golf game had that as well.
Battlefield Golf.
Battlefield Golf. Battlefield Golf, or as people want to call it, Rory McIlroy's, but I just still call it Tiger Woods. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. Yeah.
Night races. Where are they? They're
Yes, I looked at a night race.
Singapore, aren't they?
Yeah.
So if I give it a go as Vettel,
and these are nice.
Yeah, they're smooth enough. Let's have a look. Race settings. I'm going to put it on. Put everything on. That'll do. Vehicle damage full.
You're going to crash.
So I'm probably going to last like 30 seconds.
Are we talking about racing, or are we talking about something else? Hey, there you go.
Right, so that'll do. Let's put that all on. Excellent. Right, well, this is going to go
even bad. Yeah, you're going to get comments saying you're shit. You shouldn't be allowed to fucking race ever again.
That's going to be Aaron.
It's just Aaron. Yeah, like this is a new playing an F1 game.
And I'm probably going to figure out very quickly that I'm going to have a lot of work to do.
So this is a night race. So it does look a bit better, I think. Just even off the.
Yeah, I mean you can see the reflections off the track and stuff like that. It looks nice and. Yeah.
I imagine the cars are the same as well. I mean, I haven't played it myself. I'm just going off like footage and stuff I've seen. But I like that. There is a bit more of a TV style presentation feel to it. Again,
Yeah.
which they have. I won't say nailed, but it looks certainly better. But yeah, the cars reflect nicely here as well. It seems.
Jesus Christ, this is
there we go.
different.
Yeah, there we go. It was an incident on the first straight. Warning.
Warning, collision with Raikkonen.
I think your race is over.
Oh man.
Button. That's realistic. There you go.
This has gone wrong.
I think your front wing got smashed, mate.
Yeah, I think that's probably about right. And if you look at the right wheel, that's gone.
It does look nice in the night, though. Look at it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I mean, you got like the tire wobble on the right because that's kind of,
It's a shame they couldn't translate that across to like the day stuff. It's so weird. And even the tarmac looks nicer at night as well, which is again.
Yeah.
And the advertising hoardings as well. Everything just looks a lot nicer, apart from your car, which is obviously bust up right now. But
well, yeah. Hang on, let's go to that view.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
All kinds of fucked
All kinds of damage, yeah. Well, we just wanted to show you the damage model right now. So.
Yeah, totally. That was exactly why I chose to do this mode and completely forgetting about dropping gears.
Okay, so we're like,
I'd probably say we should probably leave it there.
Yeah, before we finish up, is there anything else you want to say about F1 2015 there?
Not really. I think, it is one of those games where they probably need to get a few modes in ready for next year, and unless you're that desperate for a Formula 1 game, maybe give it a miss this year to come back next year.
Yeah.
I know it's the first Formula 1 game on the PS4 and Xbox One, and it's probably going to stay like that. Yeah. Well, it will stay like that obviously for a year.
Yeah.
It's trying to find a decent one that's been a difficulty, and it is a shame that they've these are the only guys that got the license. But
yeah, interesting stuff. Well, your full review should be up on the site soon, so you can read in more detail about what you think and the score as well.
Oh shit!
There we go. You can but yeah, full review should be up on the site soon. That has been our kind of new format of video review. First game is F1 2015. But yeah, well, hopefully we'll churn out more of these for you guys. It's goodbye from me, and Ben, I'll leave you with the final words.
Yeah, I'm just trying to salvage anything from this race, and by salvage I mean get to the pits without dying. Yeah, it's solid enough from a gameplay point of view. It's just there doesn't seem to be as much in there as you'd need to. Just quickly, actually, while we're looking at this, the way that the car leans when you've got like that front wheel's off, like the way that the car leans when you see the back left wheel just picking up.
Yeah,
it's quite nice. Yeah, but anyway,
okay,
I'm going to quit this game now because I've really messed it up. So yeah, there we go.
Cool.
That's F1 2015.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.